inside the corner of West and Veg, inside West Side Street Baptist Church, 165 West 86th Street.
With music and grounding this community event. Thank you. Good evening, family. Good evening, family. It's so good to see so many familiar faces. My name is Carmen Perez Jordan, and it is an honor to welcome all of you tonight. As we gather here in the heart of Black History Month, with Women's History Month on the horizon, it's a momentous time and occasion to reflect, celebrate, and look forward. It's a time when we honor not just a month of Black history or a month of women's history, but indeed we spotlight the enduring legacy and ongoing contributions of Black people, particularly Black women. Their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs deserve to be recognized and celebrated all year. Let's give our Black women a round of applause. In the spirit of this celebration and reflection, we turn our attention to a figure who embodies the relentless pursuit of justice, the passion of community, and the wisdom to lead with empathy and imagination. Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West isn't just running a campaign, he's igniting a movement to reintroduce America to the best version of herself. His journey is a continuum of the legacies left by giants like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Gracie Lee Boggs, Chief Joseph, Luis Moreno, and my mentor, the late, great Harry Belafonte, as well as so many others. These are individuals who not only dreamt of a better world, but took bold steps towards actualizing it for all, particularly for the working class people and marginalized communities across this nation and our planet. Dr. West's candidacy transcends the conventional political spectrum. This isn't about the right or the left. It's about discerning right from wrong. It's about fostering unity, embodying the values that bring us together, and representing the very essence of our people. His vision is clear: to challenge the spiritual decay, the lack of empathy, and the failure of imagination that have too often plagued our society. He invites us to step out of our comfort zones, to shed our egos, and to truly place ourselves in someone else's situation, to feel the fabric of their experiences, and to understand the contours of their lives. Dr. West's voice is a clarion call for all of us to envision a society where empathy and compassion lead our actions. He stands as one of the last intellectual agitators of our time, enriched with a little sprinkle of that good old time religion, a blend of moral courage and spiritual vigor that propels us towards justice, equity, and understanding. And tonight, as we delve into discussions and performances that promise to stir our souls and galvanize our spirits, Let's allow ourselves to imagine a country where safety is abundant. Let's imagine safety, not merely the absence of crime, but the presence of well-being, where babies aren't subjected to violence, where poverty isn't the backdrop of our communities, where women and men are valued and respected equally, living free from fear and discrimination. In this vision, our collective well-being is the cornerstone of our society. It's a place where every individual, regardless of gender, race, or economic status, has the opportunity to thrive. Education, healthcare, and opportunities are not privileges, but rights accessible to all. Our communities are characterized by mutual respect, empathy, and understanding, fostering an environment where everyone can feel truly safe and valued. Imagine that. Imagine a society where the voices of the marginalized are amplified and heard, where policies reflect the needs and aspirations of the people. This is the vision we strive for. A nation built on the principles of justice, equity, and compassion, where our actions are guided by the belief in a shared humanity and a common destiny. Tonight is going to be an evening of powerful reflections, inspiring dialogues, and a celebration of the resilience and beauty of our communities. In embracing Dr. West's vision, we're not just supporting a candidate, we're championing a cause that calls us to be better, to do better, and to dream bigger for the sake of our country and for the global community at large. Our siblings across the world deserve the same dignity and respect that we deserve. Let's embark on this journey together, inspired by the legacies that have shaped us and driven by the possibilities that lie ahead. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this moment and for believing in the power of change. Together, we make tonight a truly special evening. Thank you. Now join me in welcoming Solomon Khatib, who's going to share some words with all of you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks, Colonel West, Dr. Colonel West, for the inspirational work that you have done in your life. It's really inspiring for me personally. I come from Palestine. I born in Jerusalem. And I really, you mentioned imagination, and I think tonight I feel bringing back with alliances and partners here in the vision, bringing the idea of imagination to ourselves and to the community. And back in my life, I go back in the past, and now, inspired by the future, I didn't imagine when I was a child, born and living under the Israeli occupation, that one day I will be here in New York speaking with alliances, with the like-minded and like spiritual people with the same spirit of decolonizing the history and the world from really to heal together. And I speak even, maybe, I believe, as someone grew up under the occupation, and I was in Israeli jail for 10 years, my teenager time. From the age of 14, I went to jail, and I was fighting before. And from my background and from my story and my experience, that was motivated, and still the love to and belonging to the land and to the community where I come from, indigenous family of the mountains of Jerusalem. I really feel grounded, and I feel carrying the key for the liberation of both the oppressors and the oppressed. And we have to do it together. Yeah, I just came a few weeks ago. I'm really excited actually to be here. I'm not American. I don't live in America. I can't even vote, which I'm happy about because I really come more from the activist world, where some of my friends and colleagues has come together, established together a non-violence movement in Palestine and Israel from people that were fighting before and establish together a partnership, despite, of course, the history and the power dynamic and all the things that we can talk about, in order to create a different future and to imagine different future. I know it's maybe hard for people to imagine because we don't have a reference in history, because we always go to the past. And yesterday I was with a few friends that speaking about how if we will be inspired by something from the future actually, that we can create together. And I'm as a dreamer, but also living the reality, especially right now, what's happening right now in Gaza. It's hard to talk about the land there without mentioning the bloodshed that happened in the land there. And of course, I'm sure many of you feel solidarity and empathy with the people of Gaza. And also, actually, it's not just in Gaza. I still feel some of us really has maybe the mission to keep the vision and other worlds possible, like Dr. Coleman West and others, a few others, that can really have what we call it the North Star. I'm from the South, the South Star, where people can really inspire and dream and believe in a different world, where we born and live equally, treat each other equally in the global South, in between with each other, both worlds, I wanted to say, because both worlds have been not in a healthy relationship, and there is a lot of trauma, generational trauma, as we all know. And I believe we don't really have individual solutions. We do have a collective solution, and that's why I personally believe a lot in a holistic activism, that really taking all the picture from the environment. Sister here spoke about the African American struggle, the indigenous people globally, the suffering of indigenous people, the capitalistic system that really destroy our souls, and so on. So I think it's about time now to basically come together and unite together in a global alliance for a global liberation movement. And this is really the time. I personally am 52 soon, and I have been activist since my childhood, basically, from armed struggle to where I am now, carrying the message of non-violence that I also learned in jail, by the way, from the food hunger strike, where I learned that non-violence can work. And I know it's hard to convince people that non-violence can work in front of this big machine. But I deeply believe in the power of non-violence. And before I read about Martin Luther King and Gandhi and Rosa Parks, I actually practiced this in my body, because I participate a lot in the food hunger strike, where our community in jail has successfully won the what we call it the battle of the stomach. And that's how I turned when I was 15 to believe in the power of non-violence. And I feel right now globally with the forces of darkness that are driving us in the region, in our region, and globally into more wars, into more selfishness, into more racism and so on. The forces that really believe in harmony and a different world, and imagine a different world, really has to come together and force or making alliances with each other and support each other globally, because I don't believe what's happening in Palestine is a single issue on a side. This is a reflection of the global system, the ruler of the global system, and the immorality of the global system, where moral values are putting aside. And for me, being here, I feel home, like literally in my soul, and I'm really optimistic more than ever. This is the best time for me as activist. I've been like since the last war, in the last few months, I've been feeling much more grounded, much more optimistic. I see the changes, I see the dynamic, the energy, the global awakening that's happening right now. And this is our time to really make the dream of changing the world is possible. Thank you. I'm supposed to introduce, musician Brandon Lucas. Are you around?
Thank you. How you doing? Living Brandon Lucas. Born and raised in Los Angeles, California, living in Brooklyn now. The greatest borough in the world, as Dr. West says. I've been working with Dr. West for about 15, 20 years now. I started in social media pages way back when. He's been a mentor, a friend, and a guide to me, an inspiration to my music through and through. We started a house music project called The House of West a couple of years ago, and put that on hold with a campaign again. But he was like, let's get it going. That's good. So we have a song out today called Love Warrior. How many Love Warriors out there? Make some noise. Love Warriors out there? Yeah, we actually did that song like 2 years ago or something like that. I played it for him back in the coffee shop when we went out here in New York. And when we realized that we were talking about volunteer team, the Love Warriors were like, let's put it up. Let's do it. So we're actually having technical difficulties with our music. Are we good? Are we good? All right, we got professional musicians. I said we go. All right, we go. Musicians know it, so one second. We got one more song. This one's called My Tribe. You get full idea here. I love it. This song is called My Tribe. We're going to perform it on last. Yeah. sci-fi, the teaching that doesn't need the voice, and the vision of darkness, the playground. From the top of the we go. Now you asking questions, what we do? Looking for the right direction. I know you. We're get away. Looking too fast. Looking for everything. Where I'm at. Walking on the blues. And I'm right by blue. Asking for the truth. They never ask you. Down, down. You down. Give her the band, thank you. Somebody that's brother looking. Look out the wheel here. Our next speaker is Dr. Mon. Where you at? Where you at? Dr. Mon?
Masal khair. Good evening, everybody. I really love when the light is focused on you, not on me, because you are the power, not me. My name is Amal Hassan Al-Hajouj, and I am a Palestinian. I was born in Israel. I spent my last 25 years advocating for peace, justice, and human rights with a focus on women empowerment and women rights. In the last 4 months, I lost 47 people in Gaza, my relatives and friends. I was sinking in pain. I was always motivated by hope, because that's my name. Amal means hope. But the last 4 months, and still as we speak, my people in Gaza are being starved and displaced, while the world leaders are watching and even not capable of saying ceasefire, the minimum, the bare minimum, until I heard Dr. Cornel West. Your voice, your courage eliminated the dark and gave me hope. As an activist, I was able to stand up again and say, we are not leaving this in the hands of these fake leaders, that they only care about their own power and their money and profits. They don't care about people's life. And Dr. Cornel is the champion for the oppressed, the marginalized, the people that we care about, but we don't hear their voices. The people that we love, but we don't hear their voices. Because the noise of capitalism, The noise of profit is so loud, but when people like us, communities like us gathered, our voice ought to be louder because we are coming from the place of love. And where is love, there is justice. I believe in it. The power does not lie with the elites and the institutions. It's in our hands. We should reclaim it. It's ours. We own it. We should reclaim it. Take it back. And when I hear people saying, oh, listen, but you know, there are two big parties in America, and there's no one who's gonna vote for a small party. What I wanna tell you is that we have to break this narrative down. We have to change the narrative. We have to make it possible that the voices of the people are going to grow and become strong and real power. That narrative of there is no alternative is a false narrative. It is a false narrative. When we are together, united, celebrating our humanity, standing together, believing in our voice, we are the power. We will build it, and we will create the alternative. Otherwise, the world is not ours and not also for our children. And if we care about our own communities and about our own children, this is the time. Let's reclaim the power. It's ours, we own it. We can build it together, and we can make this alternative possible when we all stand together with Dr. Cornel West, because he is the voice of hope, and he is the voice of justice, and he is the voice of the people like us, the people who believe in themselves, and we are there to help them get together and stand together. If we are not part of the problem, if we are not part of the solution, we will remain part of the problem. Let's all stand together and decide, not anymore. We are part of the solution, and we will make it. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I'm delighted to invite to the stage Henry DeWright. Let's us welcome him to the stage. Where are you, Henry? This is a young voice, the future.
Thank you, Dr. Elsana, for the introduction. It is an honor to be here in your presence and to speak alongside such inspiring activists who have dedicated their lives to the principles of peace, justice, and democracy. Now, as much as I would like to strike an enthusiastic note, face to face with so many other politically engaged New Yorkers, I'm here today because I'm deeply worried. Today, here in New York City, students are in danger at school. The first promised citadel of security in the lives of American citizens. Just last month, students were attacked with a chemical substance at Columbia University, not far from here, a substance typically employed by the IDF. They could not breathe, they could not see on campus. The one place we know must be safe to live and to learn. Now, this danger is not new. Last fall, when student groups held an event at Columbia to discuss the Israel-Palestine conflict, their clubs were banned, and they were suspended and prevented from attending class. At the University of Massachusetts Amherst, at Brown in Rhode Island, at the University of Chicago, students have been arrested, they've been brought before courts, they have lost jobs, they have been placed on academic probation or outright suspended and expelled for raising their voices and saying what they believe to be true and to be right. At the University of Michigan, police even arrived with riot shields to make arrests, like soldiers from an occupying army. And at Harvard, this school that still symbolizes the ultimate promise of American higher education, names and photos of student protesters were displayed on doxing trucks in Harvard Square. Now, I and my friends at NYU, we stand with the students who have been attacked at Columbia because all of our eyes are burning. All of our heads are aching. All of us are made nauseous by the sickening injustice in Gaza and by the flagrant violations of academic freedom here at home. And we are so fatigued by the unwillingness of those who are hired and paid to administer our schools, hired and paid to administer our lives, hired and paid to administer our education. Their unwillingness to let us speak. And so when I say that I'm worried about the safety of my generation, about our collective right to speak, our right to assembly, and about the revelation that our promised foundation was a corporate illusion. And yet our struggle to speak is not as grave as those we're protesting for, the young people of Gaza who are watching their schools burn and walking through the wreckage, or being carried out in pieces by grieving parents, while university administrators and politicians in our country, in our city, look on in silent assent. But Suleiman Khatib is not silent today. Corman Perez is not silent today. Immortal Technique, who is performing later, he's not silent today. None of you are silent today. And Cornel West is certainly not silent today. He has been raising his voice since he swept open the doors of Harvard College in 1970 with a sense of justice and a willingness to defend the defenseless that has not dissipated or diverged since. I have spoken of the forgotten student. Cornel West has dedicated his life to supporting students. I have spoken of violated academic freedoms. Cornel West has fought for academic freedom, from Union to Harvard to Princeton, even when administrators tried, unsuccessfully, to crack down on his right to speak. I've spoken of the injustice in Palestine. Cornel West has fought to uphold human rights in Israel and Palestine for 50 years. Dr. West has reminded us on many occasions that the late Edward Said and Fannie Lou Hamer and Rabbi Abraham Heschel and Martin Luther King Jr. represent the best in American history. Now, Dr. West may deny this because of his humility, but he exemplifies what is best in American history too. And he has more than earned his place in the eyes of my generation as someone to look up to today. He is the person to meet this moment, to speak in support of freedom at home and justice abroad, for he has said all this time that the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. And he has not swerved in 50 years from fulfilling that promise. Now, I began these remarks by sharing that I'm worried about the condition of young people, but I'm hopeful too. Because when I'm in the presence of Dr. West and the people that he has inspired, the people that he has brought together tonight, I know, thanks to his teaching, that we will keep pushing on together. Thank you.
Another round of applause. It's truly an honor to introduce our next speaker and performer, a cherished friend, a remarkable individual whom I've had the privilege of bringing into juvenile prisons as a source of hope and inspiration for the young people locked up. Felipe Coronel, widely known as Immortal Technique, is not just a rapper, but a passionate activist whose music serves as a powerful voice for the voiceless. Immortal's lyrics delve deep into the heart of global politics, offering a radical perspective that challenges and provokes all of us. His commitment to addressing many of today's important issues through his art has established him as a unique figure in the music industry, one who uses his platform to illuminate truths often left in the shadows. Family, please join me in welcoming a true icon of our time, a voice for the marginalized, a man who embodies the power of art as a tool for change, my brother, Immortal Technique.
Check, check, 1, 2. They got a new housing plan for the ghetto eventually. Projects for a new American century. False flag terrorism controlling you mentally. The gospel in the hands of people with no empathy. A mixture of dangerous social chemistry between law enforcement and a military entity. Cameras on the corner of every corner you facing. Testing out a future Gestapo on immigration. Power consolidation, information restricted. Just like the iron law of oligarchy predicted. Incarcerating the poor among the drug addicted. But not the families of the ruling class that's afflicted. Cause it's a fucking caste system like corrupted Hinduism. I think you should listen. I've been through the system in prison. I've been through religion. I carry the cross as a Christian like it was anti-disestablishmentarianism until the seeds of despotism arrested my vision. Lyricism with cynicism and syllogisms until they Pedro Albizu Campos and kill me in prison. Chemtrail conditions, stem cells of Leo Strauss's philosophy, the birth of neocon policy. But I laugh at America's fear of a new world order controlling the hemisphere. Cause our people been living that shit for the past 500 years. Thank you very much. We in a church, so you'll have to excuse some of the language. I prepared a series of a cappella pieces because the acoustics can be funny in a place like this. But the other one I wanted to do is a song that's very important to me. I'm from where the golden diamonds are ripped from the earth, right next to slave castles where the water is cursed, from where police brutality's not half as nice. It makes the hood in America look like paradise compared to the AIDS-infested Caribbean slum, African streets with a passport's an American gun, from where they massacre people and try to keep it quiet and spend the next 25 years trying to deny it. I'm from where they cut your hand off if you make a fist. Niggas grow coca because the job market doesn't exist except slave labor, modern day company store, and peacekeepers don't ever come here no more. I'm from the the bombs that they used to drop on Vietnam, still has children born deformed 8 months before they gone. I'm from where they lost the true meaning of the Quran, because heroin is not compatible with Islam, and niggas know that but grow that poppy seed anyway, because that food drop parachute does not come every day. I'm from where people pray to the gods of their conquerors, and practically every president's a money launderer. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to do one final piece before I really get into my words about Dr. West. And this final piece is very personal to me because I lost so many people in my life in these past few years. It's like a long winter where you watch everything die. Colder than the farthest that the sun has been in the sky. You freeze to death when you stop and take a moment to cry. The teardrops turn into icicles in your eye. So many funerals you start to feel empty inside. You have to cut away pieces of yourself to survive. It's like the good earth is running out of things to provide. You see the truth when you let go of your pride. I used to be angry at my dead friends, like, what? You left me behind. And now I'm happy that they moved on with their spiritual lives. They don't have to live with the pain or deception and lies. And I know that I'll see them again, right before it's my time. Look, I don't pretend to know what happens after we die, but I promise you'll all get to find out at the end of the ride. I can't change the world, but I can take care of my tribe. And through the longest winter, we will survive. It's like a long winter where you watch suffering grow. Trying to wake up all the people that fell asleep in the snow, but they're all gone like the world that I used to know. They call it drug addiction, but it's suicide on the low. I dedicate this to the people that will never be old. Your spirit will survive inside the music that I compose. Even the sun dies and one day it'll explode like the shattered dreams of people trying to conquer the globe, leaving a passport and little pieces left to decode, floating to the sun. They do that to me. I'm still gonna rip because they're gonna stop me. It's like a long winter where you watch suffering grow, trying to wake up all the people that fell asleep in the snow, but they're all gone like the world that I used to know. They call it drug addiction, but it's suicide on the low. I dedicate this to the people that will never be old. Your spirit will survive inside the music that I compose. Even the sun dies and one day it'll explode like the shattered dreams of people trying to conquer the globe, leaving a passport and little pieces left to decode, floating to the center of the universe to the cold. All you have left is audacity when you're exposed. That's why a lot of people pretend to see the emperor's clothes instead of the naked corruption that's corrupting your flesh. They designed a way to make a profit off of your death. I held a breath and tumbled out the shallow grave in disguise. And through the longest winter in my life, I did survive. Peace. Thank you. Thank you. Before I leave, I was asked to share a few words about Dr. West and why I'm here, or how I got here. I got here because Harlem is close to here, and the cab ride was very cheap. I went to a lot of conventions. One of the conventions that I went to was the Left Forum, and I remember my friend, Dr. Bredos and me was sitting there, and I said to him, my brother, I've seen younger faces on cash. We need to get young people out here or the movement will die. And he looked at me and he said, well, what can we do? I said, tell every elder to bring their children, bring their grandchildren, bring somebody connected to the family, you know? And I said it in jest, but I meant it in truth. That if we don't pass on the legacy of what we learn to the people that are coming after us, then whatever we learn dies with us. Whatever experience and whatever pain we had to go through to get that experience dies with us. And therefore it's for no reason. So I was approached with some pretty harsh questions when I first said, hey man, I'm gonna come aboard. I wanna support Dr. West. They said, well, what are the statistical chances of losing? Oh, what are my statistical chances of winning? And I said, my brother, there's an old saying that 67% of statistics are made up on the spot. And my answer to people who talk about statistics to try to deride Dr. West is this. What is 100% of nothing? Because that's what we're being offered by Democrats and Republicans. I want to be very clear, because I don't want to indict the wrong people. I know that there are good people that just happen to be part of a party. But we have to speak truth to power here in the house of God. The Democratic Party is a party of business that masquerades as a party of civil rights. And the Republican Party is also a party of business that's controlled by zealots. And the reason that the Republican Party calls the Democrats socialist is because anything left of hunting the homeless for sport is communism to these people. It is not a party, the Republican Party, anymore. It is a collection of sycophants that have all set their watches to a broken clock that's right twice a day. And let's never forget that Mr. President Trump, he won the election by using left-wing talking points against Hillary Clinton, and they worked. Right? But what does that say about our society? That we are a country, as people pointed out when they came on the stage, that right now doesn't even have a shared history. People can't even agree if there was an indigenous American genocide, let alone something going on in Gaza. Apparently the jury's still out about what happened in the 1500s, the 1600s, and the 1700s. Even though the people that committed these crimes admitted them happily in all of their memoirs at that time. And I think it's important for us to recognize that. We need to bridge those gaps in that generation, myself included, because I cannot be the youngest person in this room consistently. Thank you for pointing out that I'm not young. I believe that the real reason, if I can get to the nuts and bolts, that I'm supporting Dr. West as a candidate is because he's not seeking to sit in the seat of the presidency. His campaign is rooted around exposing what the presidency is and trying to fundamentally change it. If your idea of being the president is saying, hey, I could get the honor of winning an election to push a red button and kill all of these people, then what have you really accomplished, right? And since we're in this holy setting, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world at the price of his soul? You know, I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. I was raised in a very religious household, you know? Even though my father was a scientist and he would always nudge me. But what I got from that is the idea of this. And science can answer several questions for us to what, where, how, all of these things. But it doesn't ever give you morals. It doesn't say, should we do this, right? Where's the scientific community screaming about the genocide going on right now? To them, they're mixing chemicals so they can kill people more efficiently or better. Right? And in the same way, when we look at religion, serves humanity in the same way, there are some people that don't believe in that. You have to believe in it for it to be true. And that's the most important part of where we reached in this country. People have forgotten to believe in the promise of what this was. They no longer believe in the American economy. Why? Because it doesn't need to make sense as a business. If anyone in this room opened a business, you would have to do books. They would have to come up somewhat evened out. But in this country, you can just print more money, build more bombs. What changes when we put a different man up there? Nothing. There are only 2 presidents that ever got Israel to halt its settlements. You know that? And it was 2 Republicans. One was George Bush Sr. and the other one was Eisenhower. They did so by threatening to take away funding from them. And that's what changed the conversation. For the people that were up here, the sister here and the young brother that talked about how the people here are the voice and the power, that's 100% true. Because with all of the boycotts going on and the divestment, that's terrified the people that are in charge. Because their entire system is built on capitalism. It's built on the exploitation of labor. And we as a community have come together to fundamentally reject that. And say, wait a minute, what is the purpose of all this, right? The beautiful things that people love about America that they break into the country for, illegally according to some people. These beautiful things that make America so special, who are they given to us by, right? That's the other fundamental question we've never asked, ladies and gentlemen. Why is it then when your wife gets pregnant, she can't just be fired from her job because I don't want her working here? Why is it that a person has to say, hey, wait, I get workers' comp. If I was hurt on the job, then I should be here. How come I get days off, sick days? That wasn't something that was given to us by capitalists. They didn't want that. That's the beauty of America. That's what everybody wants. That wasn't given to us by the Republican or the Democratic Party. That was given to us by people on what used to be the left and is now called the extreme left during the 20s and 30s. And I learned all of this by studying from Dr. Stanley Aronowitz and also Dr. Cornel West. I've heard many people say, I'm going to vote my conscience. It's not just my conscience I'm going to vote, ladies and gentlemen. It's my humanity. It's a person that says to themselves, no, I reject the idea that I can continue to be the president and continue the massacres and continue the money laundering and continue everything that supposedly makes this country powerful but not great. Imagine that. Being powerful but not great. Imagine being a father in your house and you're so strong that all your kids are terrified of you. Your wife never speaks. She doesn't want to hear the reaction you may have. And you're losing a war to some street kids in the Red Sea now. That's what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we've been brought to. And now we're a part of an endless war cycle. I'm not going to go on because I don't want to have an endless talking cycle. But I will end by saying this. It's very rare that we meet a person of integrity. It's very rare that we meet a person that's a link to a time that we need to reconnect with. It's very rare to be in the presence of an individual such as the one and only Dr. Cornel West. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a massive round of applause. If you can stand up, put your hands in the air right now for the one, the only, the President of the United States. Thank you, sir.
Now, dear brother, let's give it up for the one and only Immortal Technique. Every one of you for coming out tonight. It has already been so overwhelming to me. I'm overjoyed. It's so special. Each and every one of the voices and the artists, not just moved me and us emotionally, psychically, and spiritually, but also intellectually, so we have a sense of the whole.